This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, all. I'm Shashina Lowell. As always, it is so great to have you with us. Topping news, transportation professionals are up in arms about a new licensing process put in place by the Ministry of Finance. Drivers say if the process is not reviewed, they may be forced to park their vehicles. Taxi and bus drivers say a new system put in place by the government could put them out of work by the end of the month if their business license are not renewed in time. The drivers contend that business licenses were once issued on Grand Bahama, but now is being done out of Nassau. They add that the process that usually took 2 days is now taking months.
Persons have applied from the beginning of the year and has not received their documents in order to license their vehicles.
Last year, in 2 days to get it. Now it's 3 months to get it.
I've sent probably over 50 emails right now on behalf of myself and other people that I had put the application in for. And nobody seems to respond. Nobody replied to the email. You call, nobody answers the phone.
We have to get this business license, have to go on computer and all this and that. There's a lot of people doesn't have computer. We got to pay somebody to do it for us.
Everything is Nassau centric. If you were in Nassau now, it would be no problem. You could probably go there and walk there and do this. But we over here.
Some drivers say they have applied months ago and are fearful that time is running out. If they do not receive their license by the end of May, they say they will have to park their vehicles.
Some of the drivers just putting it in, and they tell them 2 to 3 weeks. The end of the month, end of this month, that have to be in.
I have a brand new bus I'm paying for. And I'm told if I don't get this by the end of this month, I'm going to have to park my bus.
And what's worse, the drivers claim that a new policy has come into effect. Business license fees are due on December 31st and must now be paid by January. If not, a late fee will be attached. The drivers also contend that they were never officially notified of this change.
We were paying in May, right? The day when I learned about it, that was the deadline. It wasn't even published in the papers. I can't see the late fee being costing more than the business license. $110?
So we're going to ask them to waive that too. Let the system go through like how it used to be before, and then we could sit down and negotiate a better system altogether. But as it stands now, we don't agree with it. We don't agree with the late fees. I think the minister said that they were going to waive it. It didn't happen. So here we are again.
They're appealing to the powers that be to hear their cry.
How it's centrally located, how it was in Grand Bahama. We used to go up there, get it filled out, put on their system, and then we pay right there and then. And hours you walk out. Now it's months.
And it's like you have to plead and beg for help. Please help me get this. I need this.
Now, ZNS News contacted Roger Forbes, Chief Evaluation Officer at the Ministry of Finance, who confirmed that the business licensing process is now being done electronically. He says the department is making progress in this regard, as licensees can now apply online and print their business license from the comfort of their own home. He says the concerns from the union leaders come as a surprise, as he has been in communication with them to deal with all outstanding matters.
I don't know of the individual cases, but I do know that this matter came up earlier in this month, and I personally called the Grand Bahama Taxi Union, and I requested from them a list of all the business license for their taxi drivers for which they had some concern. They provided me with 5 names. I responded to them and acknowledging receipt and also indicating that those businesses have been processed. I further indicated to them that if they had any further or need any further assistance, they were free to contact me.
Forbes says his office remains committed to assisting drivers, and they can be assured that once the application is received, their business licenses will be in their hands before the end of the month. Now, he says taxi and bus drivers were warned about the newly attached late fee.
There's no doubt about that. If there are others, once they meet the requirements, now, there are requirements for licenses. So I'm assuming that they have fulfilled their obligations, and if they applied, or if they have already applied, if they let us know, the details either individually or through their union, we will be more than happy to assist them. The late fee was implemented during the budget of last year, 2015, and we publicized the information with respect to the late fee. So,
How did you publicize it?
they were placed in the newspaper. They were also placed on our website.
Now, Forbes is advising drivers with queries to contact the Nassau office. In other news, education officials are hearing from a team from the Bahamas Agriculture and Marine Science Institute today ahead of the launch of a training center on this island. Cleopatra Murphy has more.
The Bahamas imports $1.1 billion in food annually, and as a tourist-dominated economy, the demand for food is increasing. President of the Bahamas Agriculture and Marine Science Institute, Dr. Godfrey Enius, says the institute was created to put a dent in that bill and help Bahamians feed themselves. He says this is important due to rising poverty.
There are over 40,000 Bahamians whose per capita income is less than $5,000 a year. The poverty level in the Bahamas is $5,000 a year. There are 40-odd thousand Bahamians below that level. The other factor, we have a hunger problem. Food is unaffordable.
Enius was speaking to a group of principals, administrators, guidance counselors, and agriculture and marine science teachers at the Foster B. Pestana Center about BAMSI's plans to launch a facility on Grand Bahama. He says the agency wants to recruit more students from Grand Bahama. He says BAMSI stands out because no other country in the region has a marine science program like BAMSI's.
We are unique in that respect, and we've already had requests from governments around the region to send their future marine scientists to us for training.
Dr. Leslie Mins, head of BAMSI's Marketing and Distribution Center, says parents do not want their children in agriculture because it is dirty. He says just about everything is an agricultural product, and agriculture is not confined to food.
We have 100,000 square miles of ocean, making us the second largest country in CARICOM. We don't just need to produce food. We need to take advantage of all those other things that are available, and all of those other things make money.
BAMSI's first graduation will be in June, and officials say all graduates have been accepted to schools abroad or have been offered jobs, so it is a worthwhile investment. Cleopatra Murphy, ZNS Network News.
Thank you, Cleo. As Grand Bahama continues efforts to regain economic prominence and return to its former glory, the government is being challenged to put a system in place that will make doing business easier for foreign and local investors. Joan Davis-Roll has this story.
A number of sweeping changes were proposed by members of the Special Review Committee of the Hawksbill Creek Agreement, an agreement which expired portions were recently extended for 20 years by the government. Among the changes, the need for the government to play a key role in making Grand Bahama a one-stop shop for new investors and business owners.
Well, several recommendations also included the need for government to do certain things to help move the economy forward, such as a one-stop shop, meaning that instead of investors having to come first to Freeport and then go to Nassau, everything is centered in Freeport, a one-stop shop. So we put the onus on the government to bring its services into the port area to facilitate developments.
Chairman of the committee, Dr. Marcus Bethel, says, with an infrastructure that is second to none, Grand Bahama is indeed poised for future growth and development.
The largest container ships in the world can pull into Freeport, but they cannot get into the ports of the United States. So there is a vital position for the Freeport harbor and the container port to be in. It really is a geographic bonus for the Bahamas. So we have to grow that even more than what it is. And that is another thing that major investors are looking at, growing the Freeport container port and even putting in what's called a value-added logistics terminal, which is that sea air center that used to be talked about between the harbor and the airport, whereby bulk cargo comes in and it goes into what's called a value-added logistics or free trade zone, which will employ thousands of people. And one of the investors are looking at doing just that.
Joan Davis Roll, ZNS Network News.
Stay with us. There's more news right after this.